Hey guys, in today's video we get into how you can retire with as little as $12 a day, so stay tuned.
Hey guys, Luke and Nick here from The Common Investor. We're looking forward to this video, first video of both of us here together, so look forward to more of those in the future, and also look forward to more individual videos that we'll also be posting in the future.
Yep. So getting right into the video here today, we're going to be discussing how you can retire with as little as $12 a day, depending on your age, and then we'll get into how much you need to invest each day, depending on your age, to retire with $1 million.
Yeah, and just remember, everything that we're discussing today is not an exact science. Things could potentially go better. We tried to actually lowball it as like a bare minimum, so hopefully things would go better in actual practice. But this is just going to give you an idea of what the bare minimum, if everything just goes pretty average. So again, things could go better and most likely would go better in actual practice, but also realize that they could potentially go worse. But this is just a very average route or approach that we're going to be taking in this video today.
Yeah, so if we minimize our screen here, we'll get into a little bit of the background. Now, what we did here in Excel is we put a couple of different formulas in. One formula we put for the compounding of interest based on a 7% return, and then a bank savings account return that's usually normally 0.01%. And then if you had a really good bank with a good savings rate, that's going to be about 0.05%, and we'll show you how much money
what the difference is between the two methods.
Yeah.
So right here, as you can see on the screen, well, in the orange right here, that's the common compound interest formula. So that's just a standard formula that's used to show compound interest and how money grows over time. What it includes is just your principal right here, and it considers your principal, and then it includes the interest rate, which is R, and then the number of times that interest is compounded per year, and the years that it is compounded for. As you see here, we have all these factors outlined here with a certain amount. So we're in this video, we're going to say we're starting with $1,000. So you could just kind of think of that as any amount of money that's a factor of 10. We just want to start for 1,000 for the example. And then for our rate, we use 7%, which is just the classic like average growing rate. 7% that's what the market grows on average every year. Correct?
Right. Yep. So the market grows actually on an average of 10%. However, inflation adjusted brings that to 7%. So we're going to use 7% as our baseline, and kind of the compound interest based on 7%.
Yep, and then the number of times that we're going to be compounding it a year is going to be 12 times, so every month it's going to be compounded, and we actually did not include the annual addition in this formula, so I'm just going to remove that right here. But as you can see, after your first year, you're going to make $72, so that's about 7%, so that makes sense because our rate was 7%. But we just wanted to bring that down a couple more years to just show you how fast your money can actually grow over the course of, say, a 40-year period. So if you just look down, the money will start growing. So after 10 years, we've already doubled our money just by keeping it in the market, not really doing anything, just keeping it, investing it into good stocks that we know are going to be growing and growing at just an average rate. So 10 years, we've already doubled our money just for keeping it in the market. And then after 20 years, we see that we've actually quadrupled our money, so it's around $4,000 now, just for that same thing, just keeping it in the market, growing at that average rate. So then we'll go down to 40 years, and we're at $16,000. So that's just off of a $1,000 investment. We've seen 16 times increase. So that's a pretty big increase for just keeping a $1,000 investment in the market for that amount of years.
Yeah. And as you can see, there's a little bit of a trend. Kind of, you're doubling your money basically every 10 years. That money doubles from what it was at the previous year. So essentially, what you'd be looking at is you start with 1,000. After 10 years, you get 2,000, and then after 20 years, another 10. You're about 4,000, and it just kind of snowballs just like that.
Yep, and So then let's compare that to keeping it in a savings account in a traditional bank that offers 0.01. Again, some banks will offer more. Some banks, I don't. No bank would offer really less than that in a savings account because it's 0.01. It's very small, but so some banks will offer slightly more. But this is just a small example of how it will grow. So after 1 year, as you can see here, you've made 10 cents, which is that doesn't even account for inflation. So that's barely anything. You're essentially losing money because it's not even accounting for inflation. Um, and then so after 10 years, you've made $1 off something that instead over here could have been two. You've made $1,000 if you've put it into the stock market. So I don't know about you, but $1,000
Yeah.
sounds much better to me than $1. So just from just looking at that, you can already see where I'd want my money. Um, I'd want it over on the left side other than over here on the right side. So as you see, that same money over a 40-year period, instead of timesing it by 16, we've made $4 or 4%. So, or not even 4%. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Even 1 year in the market at 7% is significantly better than 40 years in a savings account. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a trend of money is much better spent in the stock market than at your bank.
Mm-hmm. And just another visual of that down here. So this blue line is just that's mimicking the data that we had on the left, where it's compounded interest with our stock market simulation, and then this line that you can't even see that it's increasing. That orange line is putting it in a savings account, and it literally doesn't even look like it's increasing because it went up by $4 in 40 years. So you can't even really see the increase just because it's so small compared to what it could potentially be.
Right. And as a side note here, in the savings account, you're actually losing money with inflation. So
Mm-hmm.
inflation adds, decreases the value of your money every year. So it's your $1,004 after 40 years isn't going to be worth that. It'll be worth
Mm-hmm.
significantly less based on the time value of money.
Yep.
And that's another whole thing we can get into some other day in another video.
Yeah.
Moving on to kind of what you kind of clicked on the video for is that retiring on $12 a day. So if we actually go to our compound interest calculator on
Mm-hmm.
the internet here,
So, yeah.
this is a moneychimp.com. We just typed in compound interest calculator. It's the first one that comes up. Um, so essentially, it shows your current principal, the annual additions, years to grow, interest rate, and how many times you're compounding it annually.
Mm-hmm.
So filling in the blanks here. So for this example, we're going to start with $0. You don't have any money in right now, so we're going to keep that value 0. So our annual addition is actually going to be $3,024.
Which 3,024 does seem like a lot, maybe right
Right.
now, but we're gonna break that down for you into like a different frame of mind of thinking about it. So, $3,024 is how much? What it was $12 a day, right?
$3,024 is actually $12 a day
Mm-hmm.
multiplied by the amount of trading days. So there's 252 trading days within a given year. So essentially, you can't invest obviously on the weekends and then holidays. So we're just gonna compound it based on the trading days. So
That's $60 a week essentially.
right, yeah, exactly. So for compound interest times annually, we're going to put 252 at the very bottom one there.
252.
Yep.
That's again the amount of trading days in the year.
Yep. And so for $12 a day at 20 years old, we'll put a retirement age of about 67, since that's a pretty common retirement age. So we'll put 47 years there.
Yep. So it'll be growing for 47 years.
Yep. And then for our interest rate, we'll put 7, since that's the bare minimum. You invest that $12 into the S&P 500 index, set it, forget it. This is what you're going to be left with. If we click calculate, you're left with $1.1 million. So essentially, $12 a day from the time you're 20 gets you over a millionaire by the time you're 67.
Yeah. And that's just kind of the bare minimum too, and just assuming that you only put in, or not only, but you put in $3,000 a year. So technically, you could be putting in more than that. You could be getting greater than a 7% return on your money for sure. So this is just kind of like a bare minimum example. Things could be expected to be higher, and then things could potentially be lower.
Right, and then we also did the calculations for at different age brackets. So I
Mhm.
have the notes here. So if you're 25 years old and we're
Yeah,
gonna keep
I'll put this
67,
up on a visual. So
yeah. So
years
if
old,
you're so we'll do 20, it's
and then
$12 a day. If you're
20,
20, yeah. So if you're 20, it's $12 a day. If you're 25,
$12 a day.
yep. If you're
25,
25, it's $16 a day.
$16 a
If
day.
you're 30, it's $23 a day. If you're
Mhm.
35, it is $34 a day.
Mhm.
And then if you're 40, it's $50 a day.
Yep, and just remember that this is dollars per day. And then assuming that you want to reach $1 million by the time that you retire at 67, and
Right.
this is how much money you'd have to put in per day. And that again, this is just the bare minimum, not really assuming that. Not assuming that anything's going to be greater than average, which in actual practice things will be sometimes greater than average and lower than average. So you got to take that into consideration.
Right. And now you might be asking, hey, well, Luke, hey, Nick, $12, $12. If I invest it, I can't buy a single stock with $12. Well, actually, you can. And we're going to pull up M1 Finance. So M1 Finance, we have that pulled up here. Actually, lets you buy fractional shares. And this is my M1 Finance portfolio. I actually have a video kind of breaking down in more detail everything I have in there. But essentially, M1 Finance is a brokerage commission-free where you can invest fractional shares. So if you put $10 in, it'll automatically invest. And what it'll do is it'll invest in the stocks that are lower, and then it'll let a little bit less in the ones that are higher. But if we click into my retirement fund, essentially all you'd be doing following this strategy would be following the S&P 500. So if we click the SPY, that tracks the S&P 500 index. And as you can see, I only have 0.45897 shares, not even a full share. So in this portfolio, I actually put $20 a week into it, and I get these shares. Mm-hmm. So that's how you can invest that $12 every single trading day into the market.
Yeah, so I think that's all we really had for you today. We just wanted to show how you can exponentially grow your money by investing it little chunks at a time into the stock market compared to a strategy like just keeping it in a savings account, which really is not a sufficient method for growing your money. So yeah, I hope everybody liked the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and catch us in the next video.
Yeah, thanks guys.